Speaking of trigger warnings, Dallas Morning News headline, "We are scared." Students share fears. Teachers calm nerves after the election. Starts off, grown-ups elected a new president Tuesday, and local educators spent Wednesday helping kids make sense of the results and calming the little snowflakes' fears. At Uplift Education, counselors talked with students who were scared about their families being deported in classrooms, discussed how to be kind to others even when you disagree. The CEO of Uplift Charter School Network, Yasmin Nabiha. School is a safe place for you to share your feelings. You don't need to walk around with them bottled up. She started emailing campus staff at 2:30 a.m. Wednesday to prepare for the day ahead. 64% of the 16,000 students at Uplift are Hispanic. And at some campuses, as many as 30% of students may be unauthorized immigrants, or as we used to say, illegal immigrants. They come from many religious backgrounds. During his campaign, Trump pledged to deport millions of illegal immigrants who are in the country illegally and to build a wall along Mexico. He also called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the U.S. Well, he then refined that to terror hotspots. For many students, Wednesday was a somber day, said Tony J. Walker, Uplift's Director of Student Support Services. Counselors popped into classrooms to check on youngsters who might be anxious. Some students spilled their feelings into journals. Uplift leaders say they don't try to take political stands. Rather, they try to teach students to be critical thinkers and treat others with respect. Well, the most important thing we can do for our children is to hold space for those conversations to occur. In a mock election throughout Irving ISD, where 72% of students are Hispanic, Hillary Clinton won in a landslide last week. Irving High School senior Emerson Escobar said it was a pretty weird day yesterday. Escobar said he realized around midnight that Trump could be the country's next president. He said, quote, "When you look at the president, you would think someone with a higher ethics than all of us." And you wanted Hillary. Okay. That's why they're elected, because they can make better decisions than all of us. He said he worries about the many people he knows who are afraid of being deported. Cristela Oviedo, 17, was shocked to see Trump claim the presidency. Polls had calmed her nerves before the election. Quote, "As a young Hispanic girl, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 years of college when I'm away. What's going to happen at home? What's going to happen in my community?" Well, are your parents here legally? Illegal? Dallas Morning News doesn't say. Quote, "I'm disappointed in the majority of the population that voted for him. They're basically saying sexual assault is okay. The comments that he's made in the past are okay." Scott Martin, an AP World and European History teacher, said students on both sides of the presidential race were in shock Wednesday at McKinney Boyd High School, where he admitted he was surprised at the outcome, too. Many of his students share conservative views, but he said there wasn't gloating from Trump supporters. Quote, "It's like when your team won, you can sense that." I was about to say in McKinney, I wonder, it's probably more conservative for sure. Some students confessed to him that they're worried about the country and their freedom. He reminded them of the government structure and checks and balances are in place. Well, look at you. Good job. Well, I have some very conservative kids. I have some extremely liberal kids. It's so diverse, Martin said. He urges all of them to befriend people who are different. Look at that. Now, this sounds like a pretty good teacher right here. Scott Martin trying to tell all the kids, hey, checks and balance, everything's going to be okay. Just like Everyone else should be saying, it's fine. It's going to be okay. AP World and European History teacher. And then, you got the kids over at Uplift, and then where was that? Irving ISD? Yeah. Irving ISD, where they're just like, hell's breaking loose. Jason Wallace, 7th grade assistant principal at Francisco Medrano Middle School in Northwest Dallas, said once he saw the headlines announcing Trump's victories, he thought about his students. Quote, I got really emotional this morning. I had to step into the counselor's office because I was tearing up. I had these 2 kids that you could see it on their face. They were scared. The Dallas ISD Middle School is more than 90% Hispanic. What does that mean? Okay, 90% Hispanic. I wish what the Dallas Morning News would do, because this tells me nothing except that it promotes the idea that Donald Trump hates Hispanic people. That's all that does. They don't break down, okay, well, what's the percentage of students whose families are in the country illegally? There is no reason for every person of Hispanic descent in this country to be nervous. Donald Trump is not going to round up everyone who's Hispanic and throw them out of the country. In fact, I'm willing to bet he's not going to be rounding up illegal immigrants either and throwing them out of the country. But you have these teachers, they're crying. They have to go to the counselor's office too. I think about my students. I don't know what to say to them because 90% of the school's Hispanic and I just don't know what to do. Tell them it'll be okay. That's your job as an adult. Tell them it'll be okay. That's your job as an adult for the little kids. They don't know. They only hear stuff at home. Tell them it'll be okay. If they're really that upset. It sounds more like the teachers are upset. They're the ones who are emotional basket cases in this article. Teachers gathered students into circles where they could ask questions and they could express their anxieties. School also had counselors available throughout the day. I mean, you listen to this, and if I were a student, okay, at a school, and, I mean, obviously these kids are very smart because I was not paying attention to politics as much as these kids when I was in 6th grade. So these kids are very smart, I guess. But if I were in 6th grade or 5th grade, 4th grade, because you've got elementary school students too, where this is happening, and you're bringing in counselors and telling students, hey, it's okay to express yourself, the first thing that's going through my mind is, oh my gosh, something really bad has happened. Something really awful, like truly awful has happened to our nation. Was there a terrorist attack? I mean, that's the only time that counselors are brought in, if someone dies in the school or if there's a terrorist attack. I mean, it sounds like to me these schools are just adding to the anxiety, if there is any, of these students. Let's go to the phones. John, you're on KFYO. Am I off base here?
Good morning, Chad. No, you're not off base. You're absolutely right. The only thing I was going to add to it, because boy, you've covered it beautifully. But the only thing I was going to add is, I wonder what kind of brainwashing techniques were being used on these kids, because that really comes down to brainwashing.
Well, it's the only reason these kids would be nervous is if they're hearing it at home or if they're hearing it from teachers or, other adults. They have to be hearing this from adults who are telling them, and the adults probably hear it from the news, that Donald Trump's going to round up everyone who's brown and they're going to throw them out of the country, which is simply not true. Donald Trump hasn't said that.
Right. He never has.
And even if you go back to what Donald Trump broke down as far as deporting illegal immigrants. Donald Trump said the first thing we're going to do is throw the people out who are criminal illegal immigrants, those who have committed crimes in this country, which I think everyone can get behind. I don't think anyone really believes that Donald Trump is going to have this force that rounds up illegal immigrants and tosses them out of the country. I mean, even he's fudged on that to where he's talked about self-deportation, and then after we have a wall, after we secure the border, then we'll decide what to do with those who are still here illegally. I mean, you shouldn't be scared. No, and especially kids. Be adults. Go in and tell your kids you have nothing to worry about. Your mom and your dad, no matter what, your teachers are going to keep you. You're fine.
It kind of makes you wonder if some of these teachers aren't illegals.
Well, the teachers are just basket cases in this article. Except for, I'll get the guy in McKinney. I mean, he's, it sounds like he's, telling his kids, it's fine, okay? You're going to be fine. We've got checks and balances in this country. We've not turned into Colombia or Venezuela. We haven't turned into a dictatorship, okay? Everything's fine.
Which we might have had Hillary gotten in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love the people who are saying, oh, well, we need to elect someone who has ethics.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Hillary? She's got a lot more problems there than Donald Trump does. John, thank you very much.
Yes, sir, Chad.
Have a good one.
You too, sir.
Let's head back to the phones. And Joel, you're on KFYO.
Yeah, so my son's 10, and he doesn't live with me. He lives with his mom. So he tells me one day, that Hillary Clinton needs to be the president. Immediately, I sat him down, asked him why. Everybody at school saying it, blah, blah, blah. His mom saying it. So I asked him why he doesn't like Donald Trump. He tells me just the stuff that they say on TV, pretty much, that he hates Mexicans, blah, blah. Told him that was a lie. And I said, if Hillary Clinton gets elected, she's probably going to want to go to war with Russia. And I was in the military. I go, well, what if Daddy has to leave? What if I have to leave and leave you? Because there's a world war. Freaked him out. He's the only kid that voted for Trump. They have like a little where they get to vote in their classes.
Yeah.
He said he was the only person in his class that voted for Trump, because all the other kids, and when anybody asked him, he said he didn't want to go to war with Russia. And you know how easy it is to freak kids out, but I don't get to see my son all the time. So, if I say, oh, Donald Trump's not a xenophobe or a racist or anything like that, what's he going to say?
Yeah.
He's going to go with what all the other kids are saying.
Yeah.
But I had to freak him out just so he wouldn't, I just couldn't stand the thought of my son saying those words, Hillary Clinton. So I took it to a little bit of extreme and freaked him out. But,
that's okay. He'll thank you later on.
One last thing. I've been calling in all the time, and I've been right 100% of the time. I just wanted to say it.
Spike the ball, Joel. Spike the ball. Spike it right now.
Yes. I'm gonna Gronk spike the ball right now.
I love it. Joel, thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. If you're on hold, stay where you are. We have to take the break right now. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. Let's head to the phones. And Alan, you're on KFYO, the Chad Hasty Show.
Yes, I didn't hear you change. I didn't hear the change. Anyway, I want to straighten out all the poor little brainwashed kiddies going to that school. And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like the Dallas Morning News, all the liberals did a very good job educating them if they're able to read the paper. Because going back, what happened in the campaign, we had a situation with a illegal alien, and I use the term proudly, illegal alien, with 7 felony convictions in San Francisco, who instead of being deported back to Mexico when he got released the last time, since he was in a refuge sanctuary city in San Francisco being that, he was released back onto the street in March. He steals a gun from a federal officer and goes out and shoots a young lady that made the mistake of just walking on a riverwalk thing there, Kate Stein Lee.
Yep.
And since Kate Stein Lee was killed, Trump said, that illegal alien with his 7 felony convictions should not have been released back onto the streets of San Francisco. He should have been deported back to Mexico, and she would still be alive today. Now, that's how all this crap about Trump and being against Hispanics started. I take it that if Francisco Sanchez had been Asian, Trump would have felt the same way.
Yeah.
I don't care where they're from, their country of origin. If they're over here illegally and they're felons, we don't release them back onto our streets. And all those little brainwashed kiddies in Dallas, they are in as much danger from someone like Francisco Sanchez on the streets as a felon with a stolen gun as anybody else. He could shoot them as well as he could have shot Kate Steinle.
Yeah. Good point, Alan. Thank you.
You have a good day. Thanks.
You too.
Jeff. Bye.
Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO. We'll be right back. A text that I received. If Hillary had won, conservatives who expressed concern or disgust would have been basically told to suck it. So we should simply show them the same level of sympathy. I feel bad for the children, like the real children, the little ones, the little kids, because they've just learned from their parents and their teachers, and they're afraid because of all of that, and I feel bad for them. Now, the snowflakes who were out last night and protesting on the UT campus, you had some triggered college students who started protesting during the day, and then last night, thousands of triggered leftists took to the streets to protest Donald Trump's election. Hey, you remember something real funny? Remember a couple of weeks ago, and it was after the final debate, when Donald Trump was asked, would you, concede the election? Would you, abide by the results of the election? And Donald Trump said, well, we'll have to see what happens. He didn't answer it, which was a smart move. And all the editorials that happened afterwards about how Donald Trump is setting this nation up for protest. Donald Trump is setting us up for violence. Donald Trump is setting, what if all the racists and all the conservatives start hitting the streets afterwards, after the election, when Hillary wins? What Donald Trump is setting us up for protest. And Donald Trump supporters have guns. True. That part was true. That part, absolutely true. Donald Trump supporters, they have guns, and they're racist, and they're bigots, and they're going to take to the streets when Hillary wins, and it's wrong. Protesting the election is wrong. These are not rigged elections. You just have to deal with it. Fast forward last night. Leftists took to it wasn't conservatives who took to the streets. It was members of the left. And if I remember correctly, and if you want to, if I'm wrong, please call in. But 4 years ago, I don't remember conservatives marching in major U.S. cities when Barack Obama won re-election. I don't remember any college camp. Well, of course, it wouldn't be a college campus. They were all happy. But I don't remember conservatives taking to the streets. I don't remember conservatives taking to the streets when Barack Obama won over John McCain. In fact, I don't even remember conservatives protesting in the streets after Obamacare was pushed through Congress. I don't remember that happening. I mean, I could make a joke here about how conservatives have jobs and we can't stay up late and protest, but while that's true, that didn't happen. But last night, and it's going to continue to happen, I don't think it's going to be a one-night thing. And at some point, it'll get violent. Because that's what happens with these things, okay? They turn violent at some point because there will be a conservative or somebody who tries to agitate. They're going to go out and they're going to have a little bit of fun, and somebody's going to throw a punch or whatever. Hope it doesn't happen, but most likely it will. When Mitt Romney lost to Barack Obama, conservatives were upset. Took to talk radio, took to online, Facebook, Twitter, expressed anger, expressed disappointment, mainly went after Mitt Romney for being ineffective. started, licking your wounds, and you started looking, okay, what can we do better next time? How can we fight? How can we fight the government? How can we, and not literally pick up arms and go against the government, how can we fight back against the expansion of government? That's what conservatives did. We had an intellectual debate afterwards. The left can't have an intellectual debate. They can't do it. In fact, what they have to do, they have to go on the streets and they have to chant, "Not our president." The story from Fox, thousands of people coast to coast took to the streets Wednesday night to protest Donald Trump's election, disrupting traffic, chanting anti-Trump slogans, and some ended up in handcuffs. Good. Now, don't get me wrong, those of you on the left, I don't want all protesters arrested, but if you block traffic, your ass needs to go to jail. You're protesting nicely on the street, or on not the street, but the sidewalk, or on public property. Good for you. God bless you. That is your right. You have a right to peacefully assemble. You start blocking traffic on major interstates, roadways, wherever, you need to go visit a jail. Even if just for a couple hours, you need to go visit somebody. From New England to heartland cities like Kansas City, along the West Coast, demonstrators bore flags and effigies of President-elect, disrupting traffic, declaring that they refuse to accept Trump's victory, acting like a bunch of third world people. Actually, no, not even that. There are many nations of the third world variety that wish they had free and fair elections like we do. These people are just acting like little spoiled brats. Some California cities saw heated tensions over Trump's election. Thousands of protesters burned a giant papier-mâché Trump head in Los Angeles and started fires in Oakland intersections. The Los Angeles demonstrators decided to beat a Trump piñata. At least they got candy. And sprayed the Los Angeles Times building and news vans with anti-Trump profanity. One protester outside LA City Hall read a sign that simply said, "This is very bad." Good sign, I guess. Late in the evening, several hundred people blocked one of the city's busiest freeways, US 101, between downtown and Hollywood. Los Angeles police told CBS Los Angeles that at least 13 people were arrested in the protest. In Oakland, several thousand people gathered. Police said clogging intersections and freeway on-ramps. According to KTVU, police used tear gas to disperse protesters after an unlawful assembly was declared. Oakland police said one protester was cited and a small number of protesters were arrested on suspicion of disobedience. Similar protests in Manhattan drew about 1,000 people. Outside Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue in Midtown, police installed barricades to keep demonstrators at bay. Well, they also did that for other security reasons. Trump Tower is now a no-fly zone. According to NBC New York, at least 60 people were arrested in Manhattan protest. Quote, "America is not voting for Donald Trump's policies, which don't exist," one protester told a NBC New York. "They voted for sexism, racism, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism." See, this is what they don't understand. These people on the left who say this crap. All you're doing is helping Donald Trump. All you're doing is helping the conservatives and the Republicans, because we've had enough of this crap. Other protesters echoed "Not my president" chants, which had been heard in several cities across the U.S. In Chicago, several thousand people marched through the Loop. They gathered outside Trump Tower chanting "Not my president." One resident, Michael Burke, said he believes President-elect stands to divide the nation and stir up a deep-seated hatred. He added there was a constitutional duty not to accept the outcome of the election. Oh, these people. Hundreds of protesters gathered near Philadelphia City Hall despite chilly, wet weather. Participants, who included both supporters of Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, who lost to Clinton in the primary, expressed anger at both Republicans and Democrats over the election's outcome. And by the way, I saw an interview in New York City, and it was organized by some socialist organization. It was the National Socialist Club or some socialist organization, and everyone they interviewed was a Bernie supporter. They originally supported Bernie Sanders, and then they supported Hillary Clinton, but they were Bernie supporters. And you know what it reminded me of? Chicago, the night Trump went to do a rally in Chicago, and it was disrupted by a bunch of liberal Democrats, but they were all Bernie supporters. Every single one of them. They're children. They have the mindset of a child. They didn't get their way, and for 8 years they've gotten their way. For 8 years, those on the left have been able to freely call you, me, all conservatives racist, bigoted. You don't agree with us, you're a racist. You don't agree with us, you're a homophobe. You don't agree with us, you're a bigot. You don't agree with what Barack Obama is doing in the White House? Yeah, you're a racist. You have your own set of beliefs. You're a Christian couple who happens to own a bakery and you don't want to bake a cake for somebody. You're a bigot. We're going to shut you down. And what they see is the American people stood up and said, we've had enough. We've had enough of that. And it's not going to fly anymore. And for many people on the left, their world is crashing down upon them. But what they fail to understand is conservatives, if you're a liberal, conservatives don't want your business shut down. We want you to manage your business the way you want to manage your business and let the free market decide. We don't want to shut you down. That's the difference between the two. But they don't understand that. Instead, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're all of this stuff. Media outlets broadcast the video last night showing peaceful crowds in front of a new downtown hotel, Trump's new hotel in Washington, D.C., many chanting, "No racist USA, no Trump, no KKK." I'll give them this. At least their chants are catchy. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stay where you are. I went a little long there in the first segment. Long monologue on the little children throwing a temper tantrum. We didn't get our way. Let's head to the phone. Steve, you're on KFYO. Hello, Steve.
Good morning, Chad. I'm sitting here scratching my head trying to figure out exactly what you really feel and what you really think.
I know. It's sometimes I just hide it all.
I'm thinking you may need to go and get help, get a puppy, get an ice cream cone.
That sounds delicious.
Some jelly beans.
Okay. So far, besides I don't want a puppy, but...
Okay, I realize you're a cat guy. Anyway.
No, I'm not. No. How dare you, sir?
I can hear Jody back there laughing.
How dare you?
Anyway, Chad, I do not remember ever in the last 8 years seeing a media showing people crying, people hugging. Was I disappointed twice in the last 8 years and the last two elections? Yes, I was. Am I out jumping up and down on hoods? Am I out shooting off guns? Am I out? One of the people they showed this morning on Fox News, the lady said there'll be carnage in the streets on both sides, quote unquote. I thought, why was this person? That's a threat. If you or I were to have said that same thing today or last night, like that lady did, they'd have had us on the ground, face first, pepper sprayed in our mouth and our eyes and our ears and every other orifice, and even tasered, and then handcuffed and drug off. But I do not understand. Well, I do, but I don't. This is a question to the people that are sending you the I guess you'd say, leftist tweets and text messages. Where was this at? Yes, we disagreed. We disagreed with the policies. Had nothing to do about his color. From the word go, from his birth certificate, just all the shenanigans all the way across the board, and then the executive orders ramming everything down this country's throat. Where was that coverage?
Well,
where did you see any of it?
Here's the deal. It's grown-ups versus children. It's the grown-ups versus the children. I mean, that's really what it is.